Right. Hello. Welcome. Long time no see. Yada yada. It's not my fault. Ben's been busy. Okay. It is what it is. Today we'll be doing the another tier list on
Holy
the
rage bait.
yeah. Okay, it's not on the colonies of Imperial Diplomacy. Basically trying to go through, which colonial has which colony, how strong they are, how important they are to win. Sort of just tackling the different positions on the map, trying to
Yep.
give players an idea of where should I be focusing on in my colonial game? What sort of play can I generate? Or should I expect that this is basically dead lost and to play elsewhere?
We were also thinking I think a tier list kind of format would apply quite well to Imperial Diplomacy. And it's quite a unique idea.
Yeah.
It's not something that we've explored at all on the channel before, so
No, it's
you
kind of
know.
like a different direction.
Yeah,
Obviously,
we're just striking out, trying something a bit new.
I would say like last time, but there wasn't a last time. So it's kind of like a new idea. Obviously, we'll be doing this in the classic format of just putting the tier list directly in the paint map. And that's just it's flexible. I can draw some arrows.
Yeah.
Oh, and just quickly shout out,
Yeah.
this idea was given to us by Blue. So, lots of love to him. You know,
Yeah.
be
One of
sure
the
to
greatest
show.
Russian players to ever do
Yeah,
it.
thank you. Be sure to send him love by just spam pinging him in every server you're in. Just generally, I know he'd appreciate that.
Absolutely, he loves that. Alrighty then, I think we're going to be starting this video off in Europe. Obviously, we're going to be looking at all 5 of the colonials all around the board. But Europe is the homeland, so who should we start with here? Why not England? Is quite a
Uh,
nice place to start.
Cheeky England. Obviously, this is a position on the map that's changed quite a lot for England in the new patch, and we did speak about it briefly in the sort of changes video that we did. I don't know. You obviously had a great European English game in your most recent one, and I did too a while ago. What do you reckon?
I really historically I've really liked the English position in Europe because I just think it's really safe. You can most of the time before, I would say you could get this like 6, 7 center core just by picking up Iceland, Edinburgh, Ireland, and you were kind of sitting pretty on that, and then you could either like flex it out towards NAO, seems really nice, or if you can make some play happen towards Sweden or Europe as well, like you did have the option to do that. Now I think it's maybe a little bit more touch and go because you've got the Sweden opening Iceland 0-1. I think it could potentially have issues for you if Sweden do decide they want to kind of get involved and ruin your game a bit. But I definitely don't think it's by any means bad now. I think it's probably worse. What about you? What do you reckon?
Yeah, it's sort of like you said, it's such a flexible position for England, and it's so easy to defend and make a slight bit of dot profit on, which I guess is kind of a point, right? A colony is good if you're able to make it profitable, like have less units when you have centers there, so that you can overbuild the other regions of the map that you really want to have to contest. And England being a power that has two win condition regions already in North America and in Caribbean, sort of traditionally had this safe sort of bank they could sit on where they could get that extra fleet out in Belize or that extra army out in New England and just get a great game off the back of that. But yeah, like you said, Sweden being an Iceland 0-1 already creates a lot of positional problems, and they're under a lot of tension already with the Dutch and French units. I think we always see a lot fewer of these Amsterdam fleets going off towards North Germany. And so that means in the 0-2 and 0-3 positions, there's going to be a lot more units crowding around your home centres, while you also need to fend off the Swedish taps and walks. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I think as a change, it feels quite nice. Like as you said, England have these positions like India, like the Caribbean, that they want to be overbuilding, and before having this European position to always fall back on, did feel really strong. I think they're now going to maybe be forced to play this position a bit more actively. That being said, you do still have quite a nice corner position, I think, in the Dutch and French relationship. Like if you can get these armies going, um, it can be very hard for anyone to ever take anything back once you've got this like Southern Bight English Channel control.
Yeah, I mean, just put very simply, the fact that there are only two real cores that can build onto pressure the home islands in Nantes and Amsterdam. Amsterdam's traditionally hard to clear as the Dutch, especially if you've got this fleet in Southern Bight to worry about. And Nantes, not only is this sometimes an army build, but there's often a Portuguese unit in Iberian Current, which forces Nantes to kind of hang back and chill for a little bit. Basically means that you're just able to outbuild, outpressure these tiles and sometimes find a break, but you don't even need to find a break. Like that's the beauty of the English European position. You can not play this and do well, or you can play this and do very well. So obviously in your game you played hard into Sweden. I did too.
Yeah, I mean, I think the English like it is quite hard to get off the ground, I think, as a position. You have to see tiles like English Channel, which works well for you defensively. Obviously you can just bounce English Channel forever with Nantes or but even if you're forcing it, like if the French are forcing it, maybe it's not that bad. It can be hard to generate play um through like English Channel Southern Bight onto the continent. You're always going to have a disadvantage, say killing France compared to a power like Spain or Austria, who just have such an easy time getting armies in.
Yeah,
Over towards Sweden, I do like it. I think you don't really want Sweden to have a game. They're definitely a power that is wanting to go fleet heavy, is wanting to push west, especially with this Iceland precore now. It definitely feels like Sweden's incentivized to hit you for the home Isles.
yeah, and I think obviously there's just so much there. I think a lot of the new English game on the 2.3 patch is going to revolve around managing the Swedish pressure, and I think I'd expect to see a lot more of these units coming down from Bermuda or up from Bermuda, um, basically playing to defend the home isles. Because obviously, with all of these European positions, you lose the capital, oftentimes that's your game done. There obviously have been games where colonials have taken back their capital. I've been in one of them. Well, I've been in two of them, of which I was playing one. But it's kind of rare to be able to actually meaningfully get your capital back after you lose it, and that's kind of why a lot of these colonials are forced to overplay their Europe if there's ever any pressure. So
You
yeah,
just don't want to be put in the position as well, do you, to have to play for a retake? Obviously, if you're
no,
losing the position, it means you're maybe disbanding, or even worse, you're having to like keep Europe overbuilt because you're
yeah,
losing the
that's the
colony.
main
But
thing. You
if
have to
you're going to
subsidize
okay
this
somewhere
region
else,
that's not profiting for you, and just that's how you start your Doomspire. On the tier list, then.
for me, it's like it's a colony. I think its superpower has been that it's safe. Now I think it's a little bit less safe, and I think that because maybe you're not going to be able to subsidize as easily, the growth potential is really going to make it limited. But it is a capital in Europe for a colonial, which is pretty safe still. So I'm not
Yeah,
sure. Maybe like high B tier, but I'm not too sure.
yeah. I think the fact that you are able to generate decent positions off this colony, sort of region of the world, the fact that it is so close to your NAO position, so it can link up with the rest of your position fairly okay, which is something we haven't really discussed, but it's like this idea that the end state for colonials to have their colonies joined up together, right? And it's fairly easy to get the home isles linked up with NAO pressure, which you can get from the Caribbean and New England, and sort of get this giant consolidated position in NAOs. Obviously, a few games that have done this. There was a recent one, B2H, that had this sort of idea of a strong NAO heavy position.
Yeah,
I think
I
this
mean
is
we'll
the
have to calibrate our tier list a bit, won't we? Because this is obviously the first one, so we can probably move stuff around. But
yeah.
it's kind of it seems like a pretty solid colony.
Okay. Do we want to move on to the French European position?
Yeah, let's move on to the French. So for me, obviously starting off with the French, we've seen Austria get kind of a series of two big buffs in back-to-back patches. We now have the army in Cologne, so we're not going to be seeing the Dutch play across for Bremen. We're now really likely going to see them playing into Cologne. I think the French are going to have some issues here, more than they have had previously, and I think we may see the French position struggle.
I think obviously was speaking about this in the changes video, but just from a raw outlook here, just the fact that the O1 position is under so much pressure already from Utrecht Köln kind of makes this position. But it used to be classically quite a win condition for the French. Now it's, I think, kind of a lose condition. Just the fact that you are losing one of Luxembourg or Strasbourg in O1 to either Luxembourg Bounce or Strasbourg Force. And then you've got Austria able to play so heavily into, especially if it's a Strasbourg Force, so you can play so heavily into you through like getting into some of these tiles that traditionally you'd have to defend from your builds. And it can spiral really quickly out of control. Like, for instance, in a traditional Austrian opening, Innsbruck Freiburg, let's say it's one of these Bremen openings, so Vienna, Saxony, Pressburg, Nuremberg, Trieste does whatever, and then it's the Strasbourg Force. The O2 is quite nasty for France because you end up in this position where you need to make Strasbourg dislodge, right, while covering the Bern retreat, while also dealing with the fact that Austria is going to be walking an army into Freiburg, potentially walking an army into Hesse, doing whatever. And then them and the Dutch will have 4 or 5 units on Strasbourg, so then you lose Strasbourg guaranteed. So then you're standing there with a bunch of armies holding off in a theatre that you're not making any profit on, as the Austrians walk more and more units towards you. And then if you're facing any pressure anywhere else, that may as well be GG. It's kind of like such an easy way to lose a game, such an easy way for Austria and the Netherlands to play. I'm of the opinion this is quite a weak region for France, especially.
Yeah, I agree. Also, like the Spain stuff where you just kind of force Marseille, like Army Barcelona getting into Aquitaine, like that alone as a tile is such a lose condition for you, which like compare that to a colony like England's, they just don't have anything compared to that. I think you said it really. Austria Dutch before was a really common kind of like duo to play, but because both of them were so weak, you never really saw it have too much prominence. But now, I do think that the French in Europe will really struggle.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely not the worst position on the map by any means. There are some really terrible colonies, but I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
leaning lower tier for this. I don't know what you have in
Yeah.
mind.
I'd say C. I'd say C tier, to be
I think
fair.
C tier is fair for it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think this Spanish force on some of these tiles is so nasty as well. It's just rough.
it is tough. Where do you want to go next then?
Okay, well, we did England, we did France, so let's talk
Yeah,
about the Dutch.
yeah, take us
Um,
away.
and I think kind of the inverse of what we saw saying with the French and the English, where they got this massive buff on this Köln dot. Because previously it was either Amsterdam Bremen or Utrecht Bremen. Both had their problems, or it was like both into North Germany. It was putting these units far away from their home region. Then they'd have to defend their home region from the French and English if it was EF. Even if it wasn't EF, if they had all their units far away, they'd have to like try and defend Bremen while also pushing England or putting an army in France's face. It never made any sense for a two-dot colony. Now they have Utrecht Köln, Amsterdam Ghent. They get their double guaranteed. They get this pressure on France instantly. They're able to build another fleet, another army, and then play for Luxembourg next year. Seems incredibly good. I think it's a very solid little two-dot position. It's very difficult to force as any one power. And Austria Bremen provides this great shield from the Swedish-Polish pressure that was oftentimes forcing the Dutch to make really hard decisions. Now Austria's kind of doing that for them, so they're sort of sitting in a semi-corner position, right? Like there's no way Austria's going after the Netherlands in '02, and if they're not going after the Dutch, then nobody really is. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I agree. I do really like it for the Dutch, actually. I think it's a good change. I think it's a welcome change. And I do agree that we're going to be seeing lots of stronger Dutches. They're going to always have this great control of Wad and Sea, like you just whack a fleet in there,
Hmm.
which I think even if they're not playing towards Bremen Kiel straight away, I think that we're going to see like Dutches towards year 3, year 4, after they've consolidated around like Ghent, Cologne, Lux, Stras, like some line like that. They're going to really be able to get some momentum going, and like just like what the 5 center core towards the east. I think we'll be seeing some big Dutch Europes hopefully, which isn't something you usually see. It's like a
Yeah,
once in a blue moon kind of situation, so it'd be good to see it a bit more regularly.
I think this is very much something that's been completely flipped on its head with the pad. Obviously, we'll have to see, but I'm cautiously optimistic for Dutch Europe. I think this is an A tier colony. I mean, I don't think it's S tier because I don't think it's like singularly game winning. Oh, I don't know, A or B. What do you reckon?
Mm, I th- I think it's probably like as a colony, I think it's B, but I think before it was so bad, the buff really solved so many of the Dutch's as a powers issues. Like
Hmm.
I think for the Dutch as a whole, they're going to really welcome this colony's buff. Like, I'd say high B. It feels similar now to the England position, like which
Okay.
before saying the English and the Dutch's position in Europe were on par would be kind of a crazy thing to say.
Yeah, yeah, I completely agree.
I think Dutchess will have to be careful about playing like something like Lux Bounce and just completely griefing France Europe because we've already seen some massive Austria positions and a big even a semi-sized Dutch Europe position is not going to be able to stand up against a 20 center Austria
No,
position just like jamming armies
obviously
down your throat.
not. Although the stab condition for Austria here is fairly unclear because, like, if you're in Bremen, you kind of want to be playing into Kiel and stuff and getting these builds off in Bremen. You kind of need the Dutch on side for that, so if Fleet and Warden see, it's up to them whether or not they give you anything here. But yeah, I
Yeah,
agree. Definitely, it's very easy to lose the game as the Netherlands if you just let. I mean, in general, if you let a regional go wild in a region, then yeah, they're going to go crazy. Okay. Continuing with the European positions.
yeah, we can have a look at Spain.
Yeah. So I've got a fairly strong opinion on Spain because I think
I
this is. Well, okay, you go first, and then I'll speak my
well,
piece.
I think I probably know less about the Spain European position. Obviously, I've never played it, but I think that the Spain European position is really strong. Uh, I think they have the advantage in the kind of classic Spain Ottomans med dynamic. You get the builds early. If you can ever get the Naples build off and keep the dot, you've pretty much insta won the med. You have Tunis force like guaranteed O2. Um, you have the cause in Iberia to mean that you're never really going to die to Portugal if you play even like semi-competently. The anti like France stuff just seems really nice. You can kind of play it whenever you want. You have really good lines into Marseille, Corsica, Aquitaine. Um, you can take Tunis, and I don't know. For me, it just feels like a real win condition for the Spanish, and one that if you play right and if you're not getting shit on like elsewhere in the world, often really pulls through for them.
Yep, 100%. I think I completely agree with what you said about the Ottomans. I think there's often this idea that these two powers are on parity in the Med, but I honestly think it couldn't be further from the truth. I think given the fact that of the three Ottoman Mediterranean builds, Salonika, Tripoli, and Tunis, Tripoli basically always wants to be walking south if it can help it. Salonika can oftentimes be either an army walking north, a fleet walking towards Black Sea if you're building fleet con and Trebizond covers or whatever, or walking straight to Otranto, not contesting the Med really. So then it's just Tunis. But as you say, Spain has this line where they just get into Tunis 02, and then Ottomans can't build Tunis until 04 if they ever retake it. And so it's like, really, this position becomes this massive corner position in a dot dense region. If they can secure all the islands, then that is 4, 5, 6 if we include Tunis dots that just basically no one can take off them. And as you say, if they get the Naples build off, which is a rarity given the fact that they're usually dotted by either Ottomans or Austria, but if they could get at it, like especially off an Adriatic sea bounce, then they
Yeah,
can go for gold here. I mean, it's a complete crushing position. And as you say, the Portugal stuff, which is really weird, you often see Spain's lose to Portugal here. Usually build stab when they go negative elsewhere. But like if O2, you just agree to build army, perma bounce, it's not so clear how Portugal ever gets any progress on you because they'd have to build a second army, which means that by definition they are showing their hand, and then you can just basically tap one of the tiles, so then they can't force Madrid, and then you can use your builds to push them back out. Very awkward for Portugal. And maybe you get the jump on them first. So O2, you just gank them. Maybe play a Canary Basin, NEO, and then do whatever. I don't know. Very strong
yeah.
position.
Play some like dot Arga and stuff. Yeah, I think it's super strong. For Spain, it feels like, I mean, they do have colonies, but for me, Spanish Med really is the big win condition. I
Yeah,
do think their Americas have a lot more issues.
yeah, 100%. I think this is often a region of the map where Spain goes profitable, and that's what saves their South America or North America or something. Okay,
Yeah,
where do you want to put them?
I'd I'd probably put this in S tier as a colony.
I'd agree. I think there's so many cores, so many ways to play it. Playing a 5 core position with a pre-core on top of that. It's dot dense. You're stronger than all of your neighbors there. And basically, if you're given a year to play the game, you win the theatre. If you're given any space at all, you can win the theatre. Yeah,
We haven't
super
even
nice
talked
position.
about this. Like, you just have an army in Tangiero too, probably like walk it,
Yeah,
charm
just
it.
do
It's
whatever
just
you
like,
want, right? Like you can go Chamber Force, you can walk it Tafel out to pressure Portugal, you
yeah,
can sit pretty, play the Rabat trade, then build a fleet in Tangier next year. It's
it's just a
it's
recall for no reason.
it's crazy. Like it's crazy that Tangier prequel's been in the game since release, and then it took this long to get like prequels for powers that really need them. It is what it is.
Yeah. hmm
Okay, round us off with the Portuguese position.
Yeah, well, Portugal's Europe is interesting because you see a Portugal Europe and it's like it's not really Portugal in Europe because all these fleets are either playing into NAO or they're playing into West Africa.
Yeah,
Um, I like the Portuguese Europe. I think it's a bit tricky to play, but for me, it's all about NAO control and then flexing into your West Africa. West Africa's such a strong region for you, and it's such a win condition for you. There's a few things that really are going to mess with it, and for me, that's you either got a massive Spain coming down from the north, so
yeah,
that's why I love forcing this like Canaries trade. I think it's so good for you,
yeah,
or really just blowing up randomly to Spain, which is why I also really like you just agree to build an army each and you're kind of equally sitting pretty there. For
yeah.
me, I see the NAO stuff like dot Bermuda 01. Why not? Like I really like it. Flex your Europe into NAO, similar to England, but I think you can just do it a bit more effectively.
Yeah, because of the nature of the position, you're able to get this Porto fleet into NAO, Azores into NAO in the spring, dotting Bermuda. So then you end up in this four position where usually you have dotted Bermuda, fleet in NAO, you're building Azores, you're building Porto. Porto's going to go back into NAO next year, ending up with this 3-4 fleet core playing the NAO position, putting pressure into SAO, and then it just becomes this way for you to transfer a Spain alliance into meaningful space elsewhere in your game, right? Like if you can get a stagnating Spain or a Spain that's not able to really ever threaten the build stab on you, you're basically able to just play three extra fleets in a theatre of your liking, bordering one of the Atlantic tiles, right? And as you say, you flex into West Africa, you get that extra fleet into, let's say, Gold Coast or Sierra Leone, and it's just like impossible for these guys to defend it. Then you're building this 10 dot core, and by the time Spain does ever come around to trying to attack you in Europe, suddenly you have the ability to outbuild them, outpressure them, pressure units up from West Africa to link up to your European position. That's super common, and quickly create like very disgusting positions off the back of that.
So easy as well to get Spain stagnating as Portugal, right? Like EP is so common for England, it's kind of forced in India, and like that makes the Caribbean really miserable for the Spanish. And then you've got the UTE, you've got the Aymara dynamics, which are really easy to nudge in the right direction for you. Just, I think
I'm
another reason why Portugal
Aymara
is,
especially, right? Like because of the nature of the Aymaran position, where they've got this unit in Iparina, you're in Nukugu, and you basically get this level of control over Spain, one of Spain's most important theatres to win, just for free, which just puts so much like cost to them in terms of deciding when to stab your Europe, right? Because Spain wants to stab your Europe. These cores are
yeah,
a permanent threat to Spain. As long as they are empty and as long as Portugal has builds, Spain always has to respect the build stab. But by making it so expensive positionally for Spain to ever try and stab you, you basically create this nice little status quo where despite you having less cores and less position here, you're perfectly safe. Yeah, I don't know. It's a nice position
yeah.
for Portugal. What do you make of it? It's
I
not somewhere you win the game though. Like you never look at a Portuguese Europe. I mean, there definitely have been games where Portuguese Europe has won games kind of similar to the Netherlands, but it's oftentimes the West Africa linking up to it that makes the difference.
yeah, for me, I suppose it's B tier. Like I think it is really safe if you play it like semi-competently because Portugal, like you're probably going to be building, and I think its real power comes from this flexing into NAO, which I do think is really strong. But that's not maybe a strength of the position in its own right. I mean, I think it kind of is, but I would say B tier. You know, it's a safe capital,
Yeah,
a good connection to NAO tiles. Like it's a good tile to be in.
dude, France keeps disappearing on me. I'm not sure how this is happening. It's just France.
You keep you keep
I
undoing.
keep undoing the arrows and then France
Uh,
just disappears. Whatever. All
as
right.
it should be.
Yeah. Imp dip if it was good.
Yeah,
Wait, France was in C tier. Yeah.
yeah.
This is professionally done.
Um,
Okay. Let's do a cut there, just and I'll fix the map.
yeah. You want to go NA next?
Yep, 2 seconds. Alright, get another paint up, paste, get the map back up.
Might be able to finish this tonight. It's going to be kind of a long video.
There's less colonies than you think, I think. But yes, we may need to make it 2 parts. As in, record it in 2 parts.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Right, North America.
Go England.
Okay, so Europe done, and we'll start talking about probably for the powers involved, the most important region of the map, maybe aside from the Caribbean, with the exception of one. So we can just sort of start there. There's obviously a colonial here that's the odd one out.
Yep. I suppose we'll start with England, right?
That's
But do you want to start with the Dutch?
no, okay.
Oh,
Let's
I
start...
see. I saw the segue that you set up, like odd one out. Yeah. No. Alright.
Just cut
I
it.
see what you're going for.
Okay, the Dutch, right? Yeah. So, obviously, this is not a colony that you play the Dutch, and well, I don't know about you. The first thing I think of is I'm going to play a great NA game, and I did. I don't know. What about you? I'm sure it's the same feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. I was like, yeah, maybe I'll just Port
Maybe you...
Royale, St. Augustine. I'll just like take it
Yeah,
all.
exactly. Why not?
Why not?
Yeah. Okay. So for the average Dutch game, it is very much just like, oh yeah, I'm going to walk Philadelphia 01. Maybe I'll bounce Seneca. Maybe if I'm lucky, it's EN or FN, and I keep this colony alive until year 4. and then whoever wins it's just going to take it over. It's very hard to make this position work for the Dutch. You definitely can if it's early EF tension and you basically play like a bastard, flipping both sides until you have enough, and you just overbuild armies here, which is what I did. It's hard to do that does without incurring positional risk elsewhere. Obviously, in my game, I lost my European position. But if you do get it, obviously, it can be the most profitable region in the world for you in terms of like how much it costs to set up. It's a one core position, but obviously you can get like this position that England or France are supposed to have as the Dutch on top of your great Southeast Asia colony, potentially on top of a great Caribbean game. And it's just like, wow, that's game winning in of itself. But the odds of you ever getting that are so low.
Yeah, you really kind of have to sit on the seesaw, don't you? You've got to play some, like, I don't know how you managed it. You have to play some disgusting shit, like, okay, I'm going to take Seneca. Okay, then I'll stab a Boston Mohawk. Like, go back and
Exactly.
build a
Well, that's
reforged
what I
point.
was doing. I was like
Yeah.
just constantly going in and out, just stabbing them both on the same phase, hoping they did in peace, building a fleet in New Amsterdam. It's fun. I think the pre-core here obviously helps a lot. Like if you're able to ever get both pre-cores cleared and build them, okay, then you're in a good position. But getting that position is so bloody hard. It's like, I mean,
It's a shitty colony, but it's a shitty colony in NA, which is probably the most
that's the
positive we
only
could have done
saving
that.
grace. I think it's very hard to justify putting this anywhere other than D tier.
Yeah.
D tier with like a solid asterisk because it's like if you win this, you win, but like you're not gonna win it.
Is that
But
no
you
F tier?
might. Oh, we can make a bootleg F tier.
Alright.
I don't think this is an F tier colony, by the way. I
I'm not
think there
sure.
are some
The
truly
colonials are
diabolical
quite good.
ones.
Well, yeah, that's...
Actually, I'm not sure what's worse, and we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, I'm not either am I.
Dude, look, do you see this like quick fire? This is not getting edited out because of how quick it was.
No. This
No,
is
no,
all
no.
going in. Oh. Oh.
Did you see how like good that? Oh, look
Oh.
at that!
How? Oh.
Whoa, hang on.
I think got the hotkeys down though.
Look at that. Right. Okay. Let's move
Right.
on to the powers in NA that actually get to play the game.
Yeah. Actual powers.
Start top to bottom. Actually, that was a stupid thing to say. Which one is?
It's kind of vague.
Hang on. If we use the
Um,
paint line tool,
oh, okay. Wait,
we
hold
can
on.
clearly see that France is more north than England.
That's my bad.
Kind of stupid to ever
Okay.
imply it was different.
Mhm.
Get on with
French in NA then.
it.
God, I don't like you, but you know what I did
It's
like
not.
more is
Okay,
no, I quite like them.
it's a
French NA is
4 core
nice.
position. But no, 5
5
core position. Yeah, it's
even.
disgusting.
Yeah.
This is obviously France's biggest colony on the map, even larger than Europe position. It is the colony that arguably they need to win with another one of these bloody asterisks because in B1-2V they won without it. But other than that game, they need to win NA or have a decent NA game to win. In my French solo, I basically took all of NA. In most French games, you see it at least a very strong position. You've got regional tension with Ute, Pasca, Inuit all kind of really hating the idea of a strong France. The English stab on France is classic, obviously can be very nasty, but if you play EF, kind of hard to have a bad game here. And if you don't have a bad game here, you're probably going to win the game.
Yeah, obviously the kind of classic lines for France are really play an EF and then you're kind of griefing the regionals even, or you're stabbing England really hard really early, which I do like for France because I often find that EF forces these regional dynamics which you really don't want once you
Yeah,
have a Pasca and you allied, like pushing into Great Plains with England funneling armies through Cherokee and Miami. It's classic and it's just pretty dull and it's super slow. So if you can grief England really early and kind of get some goodwill with the regionals by doing that, because the thing they're most scared of obviously is the EF, then I think you can be set up for a really interesting game. Like you have, look, God, I saw the game the other day. They played a Boston Force guaranteed 0-1.
yeah, dude, I saw that. That was awesome, man.
Yeah,
It
I mean they
was
lost Port Royale
like
for it,
it
but
was
I guess
Falmouth, Maine, Port Royal, Gulf of Maine, Boston 401. I think it was the Fleeting, which is just such a sick trade because like you lose Port Royal, what a shame. This is a center that is within 2 tiles of Quebec, and I have units in Mohawk, Boston. England can only build Falmouth. It feels disgustingly good as well because it gives the Dutch a bit of room, which they can then use to build fleet or something, play south into Jamestown, and you can just sit
yeah.
pretty here, knocking out your biggest regional rival, and I mean regional in the sense that in the region,
Hmm.
while giving yourself a great setup to play working with a regional or something. So it seems extremely good. And you don't have to play at 0-1. Play at 0-3. Play at 0-4, find a stab. Play a build stab if you have to. Um, uh, or you play EF, and as you say, it is slow. But at the end of the day, if you play a slow EF that gets you, let's say these Cree tiles, gets you Ojibwe, maybe Oji Cree, Kuujjuaq, maybe you agree some Newfoundland for Caribbean trade. Like as a colonial, you basically just need safe large regions where you can underbuild. And if you can do this, get a nice position, and then put two more units into your European game, or get an extra fleet out in the Caribbean, or maybe get a reunion position. I don't know. Do whatever.
Hmm.
Then you get a game. I just think this region is such a classically strong region for France. It's the definition of a super strong colony in my mind.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think you have issues. I think the big issues I see, obviously, if you blunder EN, or if you're playing EF into like a big England build stab, that's how they really get you.
Yeah,
Or even like, Inuit England or whatever. But if you get hit
yeah.
with one of them, it feels bad.
It's just like the thing is, a position's decent when the only way you really lose it is by like getting stabbed. It's not like you're just
Yeah.
dead off the bat like Dutch NA. Yeah, I don't know. I've got a position for this. I don't know where you want to put it.
I'd put it A tier. I'd put it
I was
high A
gonna
tier.
say, yeah,
Like it doesn't feel like overpowered. It's just strong
just feels
because
like a
you
strong
do
like it
have
doesn't feel like
issues.
Spain, man. Like Spain feels so good. France, it's just a good colony. Like this is somewhere where you're going to play the game. You're going to try and win the game here. It's hard to lose it.
I think France is just a good colonial. Well
Oh,
designed colonial.
that's a controversial opinion.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
England.
England. I mean, we could just like copy paste everything we said about France, right?
Yeah.
It's like functionally identical. I mean, it's the same ideas with the difference of okay. I mean, we can quickly talk about the fact that it's very similar. Like you have the same sort of ideas. You can build tons of units, get a really good position, take all of the Dutch stuff, build armies in Jamestown, pressure St. Augustine, pressure Cherokee. I think the most important thing about the New England colony for me is that if you win it, you have three ways to win the game. You can either hard stab or fight France, super push into Spain and link up with your Caribbean, or you play a bunch of units into NAO and you use that to go for a crazy European position. I've seen a few Englands play this like NAO position. I think obviously you did. Also a great way to win the game. But yeah, I think the most interesting difference between this and France is that your win condition as England is linking up Antigua to Boston or Falmouth, right? Like you want to get all of these cores connected. It's fairly easy to do if you look at the tiles. Hard to say this is anything, but I don't know. It's just such a strong position.
Yeah, I guess it depends if you're counting like NA as separate from the Caribbean, because if you look at it as like one big blob, you just have an insane amount of cores here. The thing I like about England's position, maybe over France's position, is you've got less regional exposure. You really only have Inuit to deal with, so you're less likely to kind of get griefed by a really strong Atha or something. Also, your cores sit behind France, so in an EF, it does feel like you have that little bit more play to kind of sit behind, build stab for their position, like while they walk away from you slowly. I think you see a lot of that in England solos in
Yeah,
long-term EFs. But yeah,
yeah. I think like you said, it's you're playing a safer version of French NA with the opportunity to link up your colony. This is maybe I was being too harsh on English. I think this is like it's an S tier colony. I don't know. What do you think? If you
yeah,
see an English solo, it has a strong NA always.
yeah. I would say I would probably put it on par with the Frenches, only because I think France has an easier time in killing England and still um, having a good time versus the regionals. Where I do think if you're playing England and you're killing France, by the time you're in these tiles like Tadoussac and Papin, like you can struggle to push past whatever regional sits behind that. Whereas with France, if you get a really good build stab onto England, you can really make some crazy positions.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, I think it's
I don't.
I would be fine with an S tier. NAO is crazy,
It
and you can link up to a Caribbean. It's like
just feels like that's the thing. That's the difference for me and front. Like France, you're always playing this isolated position. Like if you join your Europe to your to your NA position, then you've won the game. So fine, whatever. But England joins their European, Caribbean, and North American positions all the time through NAO. Like all the time.
yeah,
If you like, I think England
do it
has
like
by
game two.
far of any colonial, any high sea style, maybe a crazy stat, the most cores that build two tiles into NAO. So we have Plymouth, St. John's, Falmouth, Boston, Bermuda, Bahamas, and not Antigua. All can get into NAO super quickly,
Yeah,
which is just a level of connectivity that like no other colonial can fight. So I'm
Yep, I agree. I mean, England is it's crazy power.
gonna have to like really squash this. Kind of looks exactly the same as the French one, but whatever. It's an S tier. I'll just put it. Oh, hang on.
Yeah, a bit of a circle maybe. Oh,
E.
oh, okay.
Maybe we double it up. We just put an F here. That was kind of like
Oh, oh yeah, that's legible. Oh yeah.
F.
Oh yeah. There you go.
Shut the fuck up.
He's a wizard on the paint.
I'm gonna scroll up to Spain now. Okay, this one's gonna take some talking now.
Well, what do you think about
Do,
Spain?
do you want to
Obviously,
talk
there's a
about
lot of
like this?
courts.
Do you want to just because like Spain is like one super colony, right? Like all of this is joined together from the
Yeah.
start. This is like
I
kind of
think
the largest regional position in the game. It's kind of like Russia, but if without all the Russian problems. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cores. That is
it's Russia.
Russia.
It's Russia on the side
Yeah,
with more sea tiles. It's
yeah.
not really like Russia that.
No, but it's kind of like Russia in that
Just,
there's 8 tiles connected together in a line.
hmm,
No
I
further
hear that.
questions.
I hear. I hear that. I hear that.
Okay.
Don't mind some of the minutiae.
Can we focus, by the way?
Yeah.
I feel
Okay.
like we were talking about colonies, you just started talking about Russia.
Whatever. Do you think this colony is good or do you think it's bad? That's the point of the video, so you know.
I think Spanish NA is it's kind of in a weird position, right? So it's super easy to. I was watching Salik's game and he lost his NA fairly easily. Like, playing your O1 position is super weird because like who's getting Hawaii? Is it going to be you? Is it going to be Ute? Okay, if it's you, then where is Ute going? Well, they put Fleet at Kuala, and they're building Fleet Yakutsk, and they're just kind of like slow stabbing you with all of these units that you really don't have an answer for. And then it's like, well, okay, but at least your English stuff is okay, but your English stuff is really bad, by the way. Like, you
Yeah.
always want to be building a fleet in St. Augustine in year 2. You can build an army, but then you lose Florida current control from Bahamas. So you don't want to be doing that. So you build a fleet, you bounce Florida current. Jamestown walks Catawba in 01, and then there's either Santee or Gulfstream in 02, and it's Army Jamestown walks Catawba, pressuring St. Augustine permanently. Okay, well, what if they walk Cherokee? If they walk Cherokee, in 03, they will have an army in Cherokee, probably an army in Jamestown, a fleet somewhere near Catawba, and holding on to this position becomes very hard. Now, you can treat St. Augustine like Naples in that you build it in year 2 if you're lucky. Well, I mean, you probably will build it in year 2, and then if you're lucky if you ever build it again. But without St. Augustine, it becomes really easy to lose the tile in the Caribbean, which is Gulf of Mexico. And so then your position can kind of completely collapse just slowly from very traditional English play, right? Kill NA, kill Dutch NA, kill Spanish NA, play EF, link your Caribbean to NA. Crushing. On top of that, if you lose the South, let's say you lose South America completely, it can be very hard to hold Mexico from Guatemala Basin, Berlanga Ridge, MPO pressure. Tokugawa can pressure Spanish NA, which is like really weird, but just randomly you lose the game because on the other side of MPO there's just a super strong Toku. So I don't know. When it wins, it is crushing. It is a trillion armies just pushing north, taking center after center, fleets into the Caribbean. But it loses so often. It's hard for me to say this is a really strong colony. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm kind of in a similar boat. I do really think that Spain, America is quite bad. You you just lose Havana 02 as well in the Caribbean to England. There is literally nothing you can do about it if
Yeah,
it's fleet police. Unless you know, it's like it's just kind of disgusting how much stronger English Caribbean is than the Spanish. And the thing is, you do have lots of dots, but in the north, like you have what say these 3 cores which are playing against Ute. Ute can play against you with 5, and in the south, fine, you're playing against Aymara with 2 or 3. They're playing against you with 4, and it's like you have all this strength, but in every region that you're strong, someone else is stronger. And if they want
yeah,
to,
that's well put.
which they kind of do want
None
to,
of these powers want
they
to see
can
Spain have
just
a game.
they
Like,
can just kill you. And you see it so often. Aymara hits Spain, you hit Spain, England hits Spain, and it's like, okay, they all want to do it. There's no reason for them not to do it, and then you die, and it's like, oh, great.
yeah,
I guess at least the Mediterranean's strong. I guess.
yeah. Spain's safe by the fact that they have a few like some of the colonials, both Netherlands and France, kind of really, and Portugal, they all really want to work with Spain. England doesn't, but outs. So it's sort of like you're saved by the dynamics of it, because England oftentimes can't fight you and France.
But they often
Um,
they oftentimes just don't fight France. So.
but then they play EF and you just. So yeah, it's not.
I mean, I think the South American dynamics are pretty playable because I do think Spain,
Yeah, Spanish South
Netherlands,
America is
quite
very
common.
good. You can play SN, SNP, and be in a decent spot. Um,
The Ute stuff is rough.
by definition,
So
you're playing
tricky.
this giant joined together regional. So if you get it, if I think it's an 0-3 position, you get to the end of 0-3 with a position as Spain here, you're probably gonna do quite well. Because by the time you do get a fleet in Gulf of Mexico, Belize has been knocked out, you're pressuring Havana, you have, let's say, Bay of Panama, maybe Caribbean Sea Control, maybe you've taken out the Polish colony, you've got fleets in Berlanga Ridge and NPO, you've got maybe Galapagos Chord. Like, it's not too hard to sleepwalk into the dream Spanish setup, and then you can just juggernaut your way to a great position. I mean, Spain is not a bad power by any stretch of means. It basically it lives and dies by your ability to survive the first few years.
I agree. I just think that's tough, especially because like even if you're sleepwalking, like Lolstad's Spain game right now. Obviously, he has a
Yeah,
great net, but there's just a strong England
yeah.
because
Played
England
by
just takes what they
Lolstats
want.
for no, but yeah, I agree.
Um,
It's
it's not
tough.
so clear, but it's also quite a fun colony, I think, as well. Like I really like the play around like Caracas, Palmerbo, Cartagena. Like if you can get these armies just like marching
Hmm.
south,
Yeah, the fact
you can
that
get some
you're
really
able to
cool
use your armies to pressure the Caribbean by knocking out New Courland. Like if New Courland's not there, England and France are dealing with the Dutch or maybe fighting amongst themselves, and you're able to just get a fleet into Gulf of Paria, fleet into Caribbean Sea. You kind of build up this kind of like giant like encirclement of the entire position where you're just getting all of your fleets into great spots while they're doing nothing with them, and that is easy to do, as in relatively.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean the
But
Spanish game lives and dies by their ability to play the Americas, and oftentimes you'll see them not play their Europe position so they can play a really good game here. I think that is a mistake, but I think obviously it's important to win the Americas of Spain. This is an 8 core position for a
hmm,
regional of for a colonial of 16 dots. You need to get 32 dots to justify that, which means you have to play it the
yeah,
SEC wise. I guess we'll briefly talk. We never talk about Canaries. I kind of want to link it into this discussion because obviously it's kind of Europe, kind of not. The Canaries unit walking NAO playing Caribbean is or NA is insanely good for Spain. Like I'm kind of the mind that Canaries should just walk NAO in 01, not take Marrakesh. Because Marrakesh is a dot and you're building, but Spain you can afford to wave some units. If you're in NAO in spring 02, not so clear how England justifies ever hitting you because you're able to do some stupid shit like tap Gulf of Maine, just be like an absolute nuisance, or tap
hmm.
Bermuda or do whatever. Dude, Portugal, Spain in a dotted Bermuda situation, they support you into Gulf of Maine. Just fuck England.
Yeah, I did look at this in the Spain game I was gonna play. I do think maybe it is better to grab Marrakesh and then you put Canaries into NA002 and then you delay
Yeah, we
and
can
then
play
you
like
delay
Marrakesh
into my
Rikerbat,
stuff to A3.
agree a bounce and just keep the Arguin unit locked up.
Yes, obviously, yeah. It's always tricky to kind of justify not playing Rabat Canaries in Spain Portugal,
Yeah.
but I think it's possible. I guess you can kind of, but if the justification is I want to play an NAO game, Portugal are like, hold on, I'm not,
I
not
think
too sure
Canaries
about that.
is Spain's third strongest core after Naples and St. Augustine. If you can build Canaries, you should every time.
Yeah,
Because even you can walk NAO or SAO. Like this tile is next to two high seas, both of which are pivotal for the Spanish game in terms of like flanking, right?
I do think its strength is also its weakness in that respect, though, because it's so strong.
Yeah,
It's so
it
hard to
makes no sense for
justify.
Portugal to let you keep this, but if you can keep it, maybe by dude Rigobat bounce 0-2 spring on a trade, kind of looks quite nice.
Yeah, I mean, I do quite like griefing Portugal, but I guess we're not really there. So, America, Spain, where do you want to put it?
No,
Uh,
no, no colony that defines a very strong power can be low tier. I think this is it is you're
I think, well,
I don't know. You're basically playing a regional. That's what you're doing. You're playing a really
You're
large
not.
regional.
I don't think you are. It's because it is connected like on the map, but it's not really. It's not really that connected in its ability to play with
Help
each
each
other.
other. I don't know. Your NPO units from space you get from a UTE piece can immediately play into Peru Basin through NPO, or killing England early in the Caribbean gives you so much space to start building Mexico City West Coast fleets and then play into
We're
UTE.
not killing. We're not killing England in the Caribbean early. Name one game in the last year that you've seen Spain kill England in the Caribbean early. Honestly, like it is. It's,
B15G. But okay, yeah, fine.
it can't.
All right,
Can't hurt me.
give me
I
a
would put it in
letter.
C tier. I would
C
put it in C
tier. You're a C tier.
tier. I think it's kind of dog shit. I don't know.
You think it's on the same tier as European France on the new patch?
Yes,
You think
because
it's
uh, I,
you're lying to me.
you think it's. I'm not lying to you.
Compare it to English Europe on the new patch. Tell me that you don't feel the exact same
Oh,
way.
I would much rather play English Europe than
Fuck off.
maybe this position just doesn't appeal to me. But like, I would dread playing this position. It's like imagine if you get like an argumentative U player, and it's just like, oh wait,
I'm
I'm
putting
actually
it.
not going to be. I'm not going to be keeping any of my pawns.
It's going in B tier.
Okay, that's fine.
It just superseded.
I hope you play a Spain game and lose it all.
No, well, I know you do, but like,
Whatever,
what did I just do to my paint? This is a professional. There we are. Okay.
bro. There's colonies that we need to get through. One of these. Let me tell you, one of these colonies is the French Caribbean.
Okay. All right. Talk to me. We're starting French Caribbean, by the way.
The French Caribbean. Yeah, it's the natural place to start.
Okay.
It's
There's
kind
no
of
other.
it's kind of hard to kill, right? Because you go to Saint Domingo.
Sorry. How long did we talk about the English position here? No, you're right. The segue. No, that's actually a
and
good
then
point.
and then you're in Saint Domingo, right?
Okay. Analysis so far looking good.
Right. And then
Do you want me to
how do you kill them? Yeah, I think maybe you should play that on because
paper one
it's
may as well be like, there we are.
like even if they're England and Antilles Windward Passage, like they can't do anything. The only way you lose colony is versus EN.
I mean, the Guadeloupe unit can walk in fairly
Yeah,
easily.
well then you bounce it.
Right, so that's why you're saying it has to be EN. Yeah, I can see the vision. I think it's a sleeper colony for France because you have three things in your favour. One, as you say, tile-wise, it's very hard for England to ever force anything, especially if they're also facing Spanish pressure, which they basically almost always will be if they're hitting you, because Spain really has nothing else to do with these units. Two, the Cayenne unit outflanks this side of the English Caribbean through Guiana Current. And three, if you're able to cheat one unit into NAO, either through Port Royal or Nantes, then your colony becomes infinitely stronger because suddenly you can tap Leeward Sea from NAO. You already have Guyana. Maybe you take your pre-core. And the pre-core might not seem like much, and I think it's underrated. Yeah, okay, it's a pre-core that you're not going to build in until 04. But if you build it, it's a nice
They're in
pre-core.
04.
Like, it's
I mean,
strong, man. You get Leeward pressure, which is SAO or NAO.
yeah,
Do whatever the fuck you want with it. And it's
it's
actually
slightly
not
win more though. It's a bit win more.
it's
Like
not
if
that
you're
hard
already
to
in
I don't know.
Guadeloupe,
Maybe. If you're
or
playing
maybe you
hard
play Guyana,
FN, I don't
play
know.
Guyana, play Nantes, NAO 01,
I
02, Leeward Guyana, take it 402.
Why not? Build it 03.
DMZ England Channel. Like it's like the good old days. You DMZ English Channel.
I remember playing an EF in 1-1-T, and this guy wanted Guadeloupe. No, it was my Dutch game. He wanted Guadeloupe because it was a pre-core. Yeah, he was fine with me having Saint Martin, Puerto, and Antigua, but he wanted Guadeloupe so he could build it. I'm like, where would you build in Guadeloupe that wasn't pressuring my centers? He didn't get it.
Going to kill Poland,
Okay,
of course. But
there's
it's
not.
kind of yeah, whatever. English Caribbean can eat you if they want.
It is a good colony. You can win a Caribbean game here. If you're playing EF, it's quite easy to get a decent position. The IDR game showed this quite nicely, where even in an EF that was stabbed on, the Caribbean position was still decent by the end of it. At the end of the day, you only need to get 4 dots here to justify Cap-Haïtien, and Cayenne usually can find a few dots as well. Hard to say. I feel like this is just, I don't know. What's give me a letter. Because I think I got a letter.
Let's have a look. Can we put it in B tier?
Yeah, I
I
think.
think we
Can
can.
I just say that we don't have enough things there, by the way.
Yeah, I think it's nice to balance it out as well, so they're all like evenly spaced, I think.
And hang on,
So I think
Can I get one of our signature letters drawn on this?
so
Oh,
bad.
wait, can I? Maybe we add like some fonting here.
No need really.
Kind of looks good though, no? Hang on. Let me add a
Mm.
little serif as well. Oh, god damn.
Oh, okay. I tell you what, I wasn't sold until that.
God
The
damn.
vision was realized. Okay.
Right.
It's low beta.
Yeah,
It is low
I agree.
beta. Dutch Caribbean, on the other hand, holy, this is a
Can
colony.
we
Holy, this is probably the second most influential power in the Caribbean after France, right?
Yeah.
And holy, it's a colony. Yeah,
I heard someone
guaranteed.
justify that Dutch Caribbean was very good because you can bounce Guard, go Puerto, and then force Guard on Antigua doing anything else but support holding it.
That was me. I
Was
think
that
that was
you?
me
Yeah.
when we had that conversation. Yeah, and I agree with myself. That, that's a pretty
Can I just say that's brave of you?
that's a pretty fire take actually. He was kind of cooking that. And then what? So then you get this like 4 center core here. Play it towards SAO. Such a
Just
powerful
magically get
tile for
Antigua,
the
by
Dutch.
the way.
Well, not magically.
Okay. Describe it after the Guadeloupe Force, how you get Antigua. Tactically.
Saint Martin to Leeward C to Guyana current support by Guadeloupe. Guyana
Yep.
current to Antigua support by Guadeloupe.
Meanwhile, England is just sitting on their ass, by the way. Like, there is no
It's
unit tapping Leeward. Bahamas is just chilling. Okay.
called the game's called Diplomacy, not
Uh,
not Tacticacy, is it?
no, that's actually true. That's actually so
Trade
true.
it for like support to Ville Marie.
You know what?
Anyway, but I think it's a pretty good colony. It's in the Caribbean, obviously. It's got to be
Yeah,
pretty good.
kind of like the inverse of England, right? So England is joining it up to the NAO. You really want to join it to your South American SAO, right? It's literally like
Mm.
the same sort of dynamic where you have all of these colonies that are built around a high seas tile. You have colonies that can really quickly join up to it, right? Like Palmerbo fleet builds. And yeah, you definitely can win it. I mean, I have played an English game where I won the Caribbean, a French game where I won the Caribbean, kind of, and a Dutch game where I won the Caribbean. It's definitely something you can do. I think it's not your win condition colony. I think there are so many ways you can make it your win condition colony. Like, I talk a lot about the various ways Mauritsstad can open, because this unit for the Dutch has a capacity to win so many theatres for them. For where the Caribbean's concerned, SAO into Leeward, right, gives you a free fleet setup with the Guadeloupe force actually forced this time.
Mm.
And then you have the 2 units on Guyana instantly. And that is much faster. And you can maybe combine that with French support into Guyana Current or something, and knock out this English core super quickly, have 3 units there super quickly, build Fleet St. Martin and pressure French Caribbean, or you just build Fleet St. Martin and then it's Leeward either into Sargasso or NAO. I think in my Dutch game, I had a unit in Leeward, but I then used to like outflank Gulf of Maine and get like this crazy position super fast, much faster than England was able to really do anything about it. And I think that's something super unique about the Dutch in terms of where Mauritsstad can open, how it like affects individual colonies' power levels. I think the Caribbean is definitely a nice colony for them, especially if you play this.
Yeah. So let's go back to the tier list.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh.
Yeah. Let me just get the.
Yeah.
Okay. Can we put a moratorium on putting stuff in B?
It's not going B.
Okay. Where do you want to put
The thing is, I'm kind of biased when it comes to the Dutch,
it? Okay.
but I think it's A tier. Guys.
I played a winning Dutch Caribbean. I think it's A tier. You know what? Fuck it. I agree. I think it's actually fairly easy to get a really nice game. Like this Leeward idea looks super nice from Mauritsstad 01.
Mm.
And
Yeah,
wait, this should be orange, right?
yeah. Probably should be.
Do you want me to make the font?
No,
Only
not
the
really.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Honestly, I'm not sure how much more to say it is. I'm
Yeah.
just to say it's an A tier colony. I think it's fairly easy to win, and it's a strong colony to win. I don't know, it's such a low effort colony as the Dutch. Like you either win it or you don't. If you don't, whatever, it doesn't really lose you the game. If you do get a good position, which is fairly easy to luck into, suddenly that just becomes an extra win condition on top of your more
It's very,
classic.
it's, I always say it's very easy to say this on the Dutch with multiple colonies. Oh, you know, you don't win NA, it's fine, you just sack it. If you don't win Caribbean out, it's fine, you just sack it. You don't win Formosa out, it's fine, you just sack it. And then you're left with not so many colonies. But yeah,
Oh, this one
I
did
I
not turn
disagree.
out to just pan away.
Oh no.
Okay.
Fine, you can talk about, yeah, stupid red people.
So, the Polish Caribbean. This is not. We should talk about the Polish colonies because they are colonies, but we'll do lightning fast because they're a smaller colonial.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You have two options. Oh, one, Caracas, Barbados. Both seem good. Caracas can be forced by the Bogota Orinoco play, which you see sometimes, or if Orinoco Palmerbo. This also looks very bad for you as Poland. If you can get a decent position, then yeah, you're doing good. If you get a free core position with a core on Caracas or Barbados, you're in a nice spot. I think it can be very difficult to get that though, because French units love to go Guyana in O2, especially if you're playing FN. It's also very easy for Spain to just be like, no, I really don't want you to play a game. I'm like desperate for you to
Yeah,
die ASAP.
because you would do it like that. You would.
Well, you know what I mean. Just like an army in Orinoco supports into Caracas. You're
Mm.
forced to sit there on your call and support holding Caracas, well then you're covering a core. You can't get a third unit out, you just die. Um, Obviously, if you're getting pressured in Europe, then it can be very difficult to get more units here. You definitely can get positions. Getting support in Capellation is very common as England, because if England's in Windward Passage Antilles, like you said earlier, someone needs to break this stalemate line. So then they support Poland in. Kind of interesting. You can
Yeah,
just find extra dots off colonial tension. I don't think this is Poland's weaker colony. West Africa's a bit easier. I
yeah.
think basically all I
Like
have to
obviously,
say, you had a nice Polish Caribbean. So
I had so my Polish when I played the Polish Caribbean, I have to say I didn't really enjoy it because I think the very natural path of expansion is like this Barbados, New Cornwall, Caracas, Carter dot chain. Like obviously not the only one. You can do these Cap Haitian ideas, but I obviously in my game it just didn't really happen. And then you're holding North South America with only
fleets.
fleets, and
Yeah.
it's just miserable because you can't do anything. And then to get an army, you need to like army New Cornwall, slide it to Caracas.
Yeah.
It's just tough to make happen, and then it's really slow. I really like getting a second core up here. Like I think opening Barbados is fine, and then coring it with all of these one dot colonies. Getting your second core up is super important if you really want longevity in the region
Hmm.
and to be able to keep building. But yeah, it's fine. I don't really like the colony, but you can have cool stuff happen. It's in the Caribbean, so
Yeah. Anything's possible. Just seems like a C tier colony if I'm honest. It's just like a colony that can do something, most of the time it just dies.
yeah.
Should I write a big P on this one, or is it fairly obvious?
No, I think it's covered. I think it's
Oh, so P could stand for Portugal, might confuse people.
true. England, it's English Caribbean is S tier, and it's S tier for the same reason that English NA is S tier because it pretty much is just English NA, which is kind of the entire point of why it's S tier because these colonies are pretty much just connected. You're the strongest in the region. You can bully Spain. You can kind of do whatever you want. The only time I've ever seen England fumble their Caribbean is where they overplay and try and hit Spain. No, and try and hit France even playing like Bahamas East, and you're
Yeah, it
like trying
feels
to
really
make Cap
weird.
Haitian,
Yeah.
and then obviously Spain's attacking you, and you're like blundering like a year three decent Spain position, and then kind of just exploding.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that this shit is allowed to exist. I mean, obviously, it's what makes England the power that it is, and it gives them a lot of identity. But like on top of this being just a busted position, the hidden link in all of the English game is Bermuda. Like, it's just crazy what this unit does. You can always, it's part of your Caribbean game, right? It's compression leeward sea for your break. It being able to go NAO, obviously again could do the same. Can go SAO, which can do the same from below. Sargasso Antilles Current. Do whatever you want, while also doing everything you want in NAO North America. And as you said, it's literally just the Caribbean positions of everyone else, but you're starting on three cores. You have this RAP unit in Belize, and like, by the way, like the difference between like people do this St. Augustine for Belize trade. St. Augustine is able to be taken piss easily by armies that Spain just cannot counter because they need to hold the UTE pressure. Belize is such a pain in the ass for Spain to grab. You have Fleet Mexico City walking Yucatan. Well, what if it just bounces, by the way?
Hmm And then it's not walking Gulf of Mexico, which means you're
Yeah,
losing mana, like for sure, for sure.
you don't want to lose Gulf of Mexico, right? But then if you get
No.
Bowser's support, hold it before, then you're covering Mexico City. Oh, well, don't worry. Ah, hang on, hidden gem unit. Panama to Honduras. What a move. This unit has nothing else it could be doing, right? It's like,
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know what to say. I would never do that trade if you were playing England. Belize is super strong. I mean, name a core here you hate building in as England. Like Bahamas once you've won the entire theatre, but even then it's building onto NAO. It's a disgusting
yeah,
position. Okay, there's only so much to say about this.
yeah,
French Cayenne we sort of covered
yeah.
in
Well,
discussing because
kinda.
it really plays into French Caribbean. I mean, I don't think I'll give it a separate spot on the tier list, but it basically, obviously, you can get these positions where you get this Moritz-Stad stuff. You basically only ever get this if you're playing EF, and if you're playing EF, you're kind of linking these up with the Caribbean anyway. I mean, don't get me wrong, Cayenne's a great tile to build in. Getting SAO pressure is really nice. If you can ever flank your West Africa or even Antarctic Basin or Cape Koe, it's very nice. But you know, it's a position on the map that you choose where to play it into. It's very rare that you ever play this as an independent position, and for that
Yep, you said it.
reason, I'm kind of fine to just dump it.
Yeah,
Um, Dutch South America,
yeah.
talk to me.
Hmm. I think it's a very solid colony, actually. I think you have a really nice time 01. Obviously, you already talked about the Marisad stuff, so I won't go into it, but it's a really flexible unit. Obviously, it used to get played in St. Marcos Bay a lot, so you can used to be able to play like Japora, Amazon, Bellum kind of stuff and just completely dominate this region. But whether you're sending it down to Cape Co or you're playing something like into Gold Coast, Guyana Current, Leeward Sea, kind of whatever you're doing with it, you're not unhappy about it.
Yeah, I think
Moving,
if you keep Maritstad open as a tile to build in 2 or 3 times, that's super good. Basically, always gives you a winning position over West Africa or here. And yeah, like you said, there are just so many dots here that you can just grab, especially like you said, the Cayenne, Kalina, Belém stuff. Like, it doesn't seem like much, but that's just 3 dots that basically nobody else is contesting once you grab them. And that immediately becomes part of your dot lake if you get a fleet in Guyana. And basically, very rare that anyone ever goes St. Marcos, but you can also cover that as well. Just
yeah,
looking behind a bunch of instant dot profit, super nice position.
you can just take Cayenne as well. I mean, if you want Cayenne, you
France
can just
basically
take it.
never cares as well. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
oh no, you took my Cayenne colony. Let's trade this out somewhere elsewhere. You know, I'm playing Cayenne North anyway. I don't give a shit what happens to Cayenne.
yeah. The triangle, I think, with Spain and Aymara is like you can kind of be flexible on it. I really like playing with the Spanish, but you really can do whatever. Trying to play around like Carib is a really powerful tile. Get this Japora, Iperina kind of core going on. Pushing south into Portugal as well.
It's kind of
You can get
interesting.
yeah,
I did it. I think it cost me the game in South America because Guru, like a regional, just becomes super strong. I think actually it's very natural just to sort of chill. But obviously, eventually you do play this Portugal stab because of elsewhere on the map. And the fact that you're able to get a SAO unit basically anywhere you want because you'd be building fleets from Moritstad, maybe you build Moritstad and go into Todos or Santos. You can always justify building Moritstad to Portugal. Like, they're never going to be like, oh, don't build this tile. I'm going to build Moritstad.
I think you really want to be. I think for me, you really want to be the SAO power. I think
Yes.
usually you see Portugal play it because Portugal can quite easily play it out of South America.
And NA as well.
Even NAO or Cabo Verde, yeah. But I think there's a lot of merit for you kind of pressing that really hard and kind of you're the power. Gives you a lot of options versus Congo, Gold
Yeah.
Coast for your West Africa, Caribbean, like is a really
Yeah,
big
I
one.
mean, this is the thing. Like, any SAO can go anywhere. By the way, like, it's never talked about. I think I brought it up in one Blitz commentary. SAO to SPO as a flank on the Australian position is so good for the Dutch. Because if you have a unit in Dani, you support it into Coral Sea, you're playing for Timor Sea already, you just take Australia off Mapuche. Obviously, Mapuche is not going to be happy about it, but it just gives you this instant kill and get this colony like just super jump started, like insanely just super quick, much faster than anyone else. You can do anything you want from SAOs for Dutch, and Moritstad is the core to build in as there's Formosa, but even that's below Moritstad for me. It's just insane. And on top of that, you're sitting in a nice corner position that has options with working with any of your neighbors in a dot dense region that can connect up really easily to West African Caribbean position. I mean, this is a really good colony.
Yeah, yeah. 3 centers, it's like hard to be mad at. We go native.
Yeah, this looks like an A tier to me. I think it's not like game winning like North America, but yeah, super nice. Okay.
We go West Africa.
We still have Portugal, South America.
Oh right, yeah, yeah.
And this one, I'm not like a super fan of Portuguese South America, if I'm honest.
Neither am I. I just think the relationship with Guarani is just kind of really toxic, the way that it always seems to play out. And maybe you win it. Obviously, like the classic is, oh, you get Guarani coalition, and then yeah, you're in for a nice game. But it's just for me, it's quite uninteresting. And
Yeah, you get a super strong
uh,
Mapuche, especially like you can grief Aymara, but then Spain or Netherlands are too strong. I've seen a few Portugals play super hard north super early, and that I kind of like for them because you kind of accept as for Portuguese that you're going to be fighting with Dutch soon enough anyway. And I've seen like a bar here opening into Mauritsstad.01, insanely good, right? Because like you knock out the core that threatens SEO. SEO is a high siege tile that as Portugal you really want to control. The Netherlands can't build it until 03 if they even are able to reforce it, because at this point South Sebastio is in Amazonia. They built South Sebastio. Well, are they going to bring Amazonia back to reforce Mauritsstad? I highly doubt it. So it's kind of fait accompli. You just sit there and core it in their face. Like it's
yeah,
disrespectful, but what are they supposed to do?
yeah, it's so
um,
nice. Especially if you're managing to get SAO presence from like any one of the other places we've talked about that
yeah,
Portugal can so easily link up with. Like drop a
Azores.
fleet into St. Marcos.
Yeah, Azores Sal and then Spring Sal St. Marcos. If they build an army, they're fucked, and if they build a fleet, they're fucked.
Mhm.
Very nice
I've
line.
seen a lot of Portugal's kind of just like inherit this Dutch position off a really nice stab.
hmm
It's just a nice position to play off.
So yeah, I think if you're doing that, it's quite good, and if you're not doing that, it's very mediocre. Very hard to get 12 dots. Obviously, as a colonial, you need to quadruple your colonies to hit VSCC on average. Paint me a Portuguese 12 in South America. It's very awkward, right? Like, even if you're going to say you're going to get everything reasonable, right? Like, this
Yeah,
is
well,
a
that's
13 dot core. It's just like, dude, you're never getting all of this. And if you do, great, but you're
yeah.
oftentimes creating a dangerous beast in Aymara or Guarani. So yeah, placement wise, give me a letter.
I want to say B tier. I really want to say B tier. It feels like a bit pre-textbook B tier part, like
Why do you say textbook?
colony, because it's like, right, would you go lower or higher? I
I
suppose.
would go lower. I think it's very rare you see even winning Portugals have a good position here.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't like this colony, so screw it.
Yeah,
I just don't.
just vibe
Just
checking it.
yeah.
Terrible colony, boring to play. I mean, I played
Well,
Portugal once and I got griefed by a Guarani thrown to Mapuche. So miserable time, miserable power, miserable position.
sometimes you'll get out pressed as well, like
Yeah,
Luxin.
I don't think that's well. I'm not going
Okay.
to rise to it. Right, so this is a little bit impromptu, but we're going to cut the recording short for today. So we'll just call that part one, the Americas, Europe, and the Caribbean. And then, yeah, part two, we'll tackle Africa, Asia, and kind of wrap up the tier list. But I figure that you may as well get this out so that you can see our thoughts of the first part, and then we'll finish off the rest. I'm going to say tomorrow, but let's be honest, it might come out fucking next
It's
year.
this is Luxin editing this one,
Okay,
so
no, hang on. Well, yes, it is, but anyway, yep. Right, goodbye.
bye bye.
Testing, testing, 1 2 1 2. Yeah, Ben fucking moron.
Luxin is one of the rare species of people that opens their mouth and
Just a mic check. Okay, just try to keep it on topic. But I do want to hear the rest of the. I just give me the rest of the.
that was it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just a mic check.